In the year when I was subjected to the most grievous bullying, a system materialized by my side. It commanded, "Close your eyes." I obediently complied and shut my eyes. In the next moment, the system opened my eyes in my stead, leaping up with precision and force, delivering a resounding blow to the head of my tormentor. I exclaimed, "Has the system now expanded its services to include acting as a ride-hailing substitute?" 1. At the tender age of 7, a being known as the system took residence in the depths of my mind. Are you Shinshingi? My youthful self could not fathom why a voice would echo in the solitude of my surroundings. Struggling to articulate my thoughts, I managed to stutter out a timid "I'm sorry," which lingered in the emptiness of the darkened room. "It's all right." Its tone was calm, courteous yet distanced, yet it patiently instructed me on how to engage in conversation with it. My foster parents often vented their frustrations on me, and it taught me how to shield my head during beatings and how to tend to my own wounds. The most harrowing incident occurred when my foster father and mother clashed violently, their eyes ablaze with rage, culminating in the tragic stabbing of my mother. My foster father, his eyes of vivid crimson, caught sight of me standing at the threshold. The mingling sense of alcohol and blood filled the room. My mother's eyes clouded and unblinking in death. "Come here. Go upstairs." The two voices overlapped, and without hesitation, I obeyed the system's command and dashed to the 3rd floor. The entrance to this small earthen house had been securely locked by my foster father, who had long harbored such intentions. Fueled by drink, he had ruthlessly slain my mother. His unsteady footsteps and furious curses followed closely behind. "You wretched girl, come back." I flung open the window. "If you trust me," the system's calm voice resonated, "close your eyes and jump." I took a deep breath and leapt. In that instant of closing my eyes, my body felt weightless, and I landed safely on the ground. A resounding thud echoed behind me. My foster father's corpulent form crumbled like a small mountain, his lifeblood pooling around him in dark crimson. 2. I returned to the orphanage. The gazes of those around me were akin to that of observing a freak. Her foster parents had perished upon taking her home. Why was it that only she had survived? Was she the true murderer? Am I a murderer? My foster father had jumped after me, and while I lived, he perished. The police have thoroughly investigated. It has nothing to do with you. He committed suicide. I nodded. No one wished to converse with me. Yet I did not feel lonely, for I had the system for company. Spending my days in a corner, lost in thought, only seemed to solidify my label as a freak. "Ants move so slowly," the system remarked dryly. "If ants moved as quickly as you, they would be sent to a laboratory. I don't want to get out of bed. You can lay in bed for 5 more minutes. Will you always talk to me? I have a need for rest." "Very well." I pursed my lips. A basin of hot water was poured into the ant hole with a splash. A boy, as robust as a young calf, danced before me with an empty basin, giggling. "Hey, little freak, don't you get bored sitting here all day? Counter him." I enunciated. "I am not a freak. You've caused your parents' deaths. And you claim you're not a freak? The police brought you here, you murderer." His mocking eyes brimmed with unmasked malice. It is often said that children are the epitome of innocence. Yet, let us not forget that the malice of children can be a raw, unrefined cruelty, innocent yet chilling. The system commanded, "Close your eyes." I obediently complied, and as I shut my eyes, my body became light once more. Simultaneously, my eyes reopened, replaced by a pair of pale irises, fierce and commanding. The system questioned, "Who do you say is the murderer?" The boy, sensing my sudden shift in demeanor, trembled. Though he stubbornly retorted, "What is wrong with calling you a murderer? You are one." With a crackling sound of electricity, the system seized the empty basin and, with precision and force, brought it crashing down upon his head. The boy's expression instantly cleared. The system feigned another strike, and he scrambled away, wailing. I opened my eyes, tears streaming down my cheeks as I clung tightly to the dean's sleeve. The dean knelt down, disregarding the boy's complaint. "Shingi's body is fragile and could not possibly strike you." "Shingi, did you hit him?" I shook my head in fear. "He said I am a murderer." The dean's expression darkened. The boy, in terror, exclaimed, "She's lying." The dean barked, "Silence." The system remained in the shadows, its contributions unnoticed. From that point forward, whenever the boy sought to trouble me, the image of those pale irises would manifest. Gradually, he dared not provoke me again. I continued to sit in my little corner, conversing with the system. Will you always protect me? Indeed. What should I call you? I am merely your system. I stubbornly believed that the system ought to possess a name. The system, caught off guard by my insistence, had never anticipated my fervent desire to know its name. Codename 738. 3. In the 5th year of my companionship with 738, an elegantly dressed couple approached the orphanage, brandishing a paternity test, claiming I was their daughter. Faced with such warm, eager faces, I felt a profound sense of strangeness and unease. 738 advised, gradually return their embrace. I complied without hesitation.
Cry.
My eyes brimmed with tears. The face that bore a striking resemblance to Mr. Shen's was pitiful enough to send Mrs. Shen into a fit of inconsolable sobs. She scrutinized me from head to toe, as if searching for a flower in bloom. Why am I to cry? 738 paused before responding. So that you may have a better life. I was left with a vague understanding. So that we may have a better life. Suddenly, the realization dawned upon me, and I held my breath, tears cascading down like a small waterfall. Mrs. Shin cradled me in her arms, unwilling to let go. The Shin family's villa was grand and bright, encompassing 3 floors. I stood hesitantly at the entrance. Mrs. Shin gently inquired, Xingyi, are you uncomfortable? I shook my head. I sensed 2 unfriendly gazes directed at me, which made me uneasy. Do not be afraid. Your parents have merely readopted a compliant daughter. 738's words were devoid of emotion, yet I could detect a hint of mockery within. My fingers curled into a fist, my feelings indistinct. At the doorway, 2 children of similar age held hands. The boy wore a blank expression, while the curvaceous girl beside him called out for her mother and father with a petulant tone. Mrs. Shun set me down. This is your brother, N.C. She looked at me expectantly. Do not feel compelled to conform. Express your needs. I know you are hungry. Must I call her mother? 738 paused before lowering its voice. Do not fear. Call her if you wish. I scrunched my face, timidly stating, Mother, I'm hungry. Mrs. Shin realized I had not eaten all day, her eyes widening in alarm as she turned to instruct the chef. Everyone tacitly avoided mentioning the identity of the other girl, save for 738. In the room they prepared for me, I curled up under the covers. 738. I am here. Are they truly my father and mother? Indeed. Then why adopt another girl? Today, Mr. and Mrs. Shun informed me that when I was 3, my nanny had disappeared with me, and they had yearned for me over the past 9 years. Yet, another girl had been adopted merely 6 months after my disappearance. Of the same age as me. They named her Shin Siyu, thinking of Xingyi. It was both contradictory and peculiar. Throughout that meal, Shin Siyu continuously regaled Mr. and Mrs. Shun with amusing anecdotes from school, recounting how her teachers praised her and how amiably her classmates interacted. They laughed and chatted, presenting an image of a harmonious family. 8 out of 10 dishes were prepared according to Shun Siyu's preferences. They deliberated on how to enroll me in school, deciding which institution to choose and what grade I should enter. I sat quietly to the side, awaiting arrangements. I had never attended school. In my brief 12 years of life, from the moment I began to comprehend my surroundings, my time with my foster parents was marked by sporadic slaps and blows from wooden sticks, while returning to the welfare institution meant enduring the isolation and ostracism associated with the labels of murderer and bad luck star. At night, I curled up under the covers. 738. I dislike this place. 738 replied, I understand, but I am here for you. Will you always be by my side?
Yes.
Then can you tell me a story? After a moment of silence, 738 agreed. All right, wait a moment while I search for a story. I nestled deeper into my blanket, waiting. The little pig, the little lamb, and the little cow went to the convenience store. Both the little pig and the little cow were beaten, but the little lamb was not. I couldn't help but ask.
Why?
738 paused, then replied, because the convenience store is open 24 hours. This was hardly a bedtime story. Clutching my pillow, I succumbed to sleep amidst 738's rather unrefined black humor. Eventually, Father Shin arranged my schooling. I would attend classes alongside Shin Siyu. On the first day, as the driver picked up Shin Siyu, he immediately set off for school. I arrived a moment later, standing still as I watched the exhaust from the departing vehicle. 738. I'm going to be late. 738 advised, no hurry. Stand here and prepare to board the second car. Everyone had different wake-up times and routines. Shin Xingyuan and Shin Siyu each had their own vehicle. As soon as I opened the car door, Shin Xingyuan grasped my hand and pulled me back slightly. What are you doing? I'm going to be late. Shin Siyu's car has left. Shin Xingyuan frowned. Did you wake up late and keep Siyu waiting? This was not the case. I had merely lingered a moment longer after my mother had given me additional instructions before departing. As I stepped outside, I saw the car door slam shut and the vehicle take off. Shin Xingyuan refused to let me in, insisting that I find my own way. You should discuss this with your mother. It's your own problem. Close your eyes, I complied. I shut my eyes and 738 coldly opened them. This is a family car. Anyone can get in. Shin Xingyuan widened his eyes. Shin Siyu, how can you be so ill-mannered? This was enough to reveal Shin Xingyuan's thoughtless nature, completely forgetting who I was and how ill-mannered I might be. With a swift motion, 738 pushed him aside and opened the car door, taking a seat. Whenever 738 controlled my body, I became immensely strong. Shin Xingyuan stumbled, nearly falling over, and in his frustration, he hopped in without daring to intervene further. I will tell mother. 738 shot him a glance. Go ahead. Shin Xingyuan, blushing, retorted. Do you think I'm afraid? Upon returning, he immediately reported to Mother Shin. She paused for a moment, squatting down to ask me, Xingy, is what your brother said true? I shook my head, my eyes reddening, timidly saying, Brother says I am ill-mannered because I just returned, and he doesn't like me, but I haven't seen my parents in 9 years. I read the words one by one from the small panel that 738 provided. 738 encouraged me, emotional delivery, quite effective. Mother Shin was taken aback, turning to Shin Xingyuan. How can you speak to your sister like that? She is your biological sister. This stirred memories of years past, and beneath her gentle facade, Mother Shin revealed a hint of genuine emotion. By saying such things to your sister, are you hurting her or your parents? Shin Xingyuan protested. Mom, that's not what I meant. Mother, I slowly stood beside her, wrapping my arms around her neck. Don't blame my brother. This morning, Mother held me back to speak for a moment, and when I went out, I saw Siyu and the car driving away. I had no choice but to take my brother's car, and if he doesn't want me to get in, I won tea next time. Just then, Shin Siyu returned, bouncing over to Mother Shin, calling out for her. Mother Shin, suspicious, asked Siyu, Did you not let your sister get in the car this morning? Shin Siyu covered her mouth. This morning, I told the driver to wait for my sister, but it seems he didn't hear and forgot. She squinted her eyes, her own eyes glistening. I'm sorry, sister. I didn't know this would happen. 738 calmly said, Close your eyes. I obediently complied. 738 opened my eyes, incisively pointing out, So, according to you, this is the driver's fault for not waiting? Shin Siyu stammered. Maybe the uncle forgot. 738 pressed, Did he forget? Or, did you urge him to leave quickly? Shin Siyu began to cry. I already apologized. What more do you want from me? 738 scoffed. Mother Shin appeared displeased. She wasn't foolish. With a little thought, she could discern the situation. The adopted daughter and the biological daughter, no matter how much she favored the adopted one. She had to weigh the consequences. Once the truth of the adoption surfaced, the difference in treatment between the two would provoke public scrutiny that could crush the Shin family. I regained control of my body, tilting my head to look at Shin Siyu. I'm not blaming you. I just wanted to tell you that I will be late. Please don't let this happen again. Shin Siyu opened her mouth, speechless. She was still too innocent, only capable of displaying a childish temperament within her limited understanding. A blend of indulgence and sharpness, all ultimately stemming from Mother Shin's favoritism. Seeing that I no longer pursued the matter, Mother Shin cast a satisfied glance my way. And this incident was effectively swept under the rug. I returned to my room. Are you sad? I pondered. I would feel sadness, but only a little. I had never witnessed their love for me, nor had I experienced a palpable difference between love and indifference directed towards me. Thus, I did not truly care for them, nor did I love them. My tumultuous childhood had rendered me wise beyond my years. 738 believed that this wisdom was not a matter of pride for me. Rather, it was a source of concern. Father Shin privately told me that I was his biological daughter. That enduring hardship upon returning to a prosperous family would help me comprehend the hardships of life. Humans often take pride in suffering, but in reality, this warped value of pride in suffering is the most foolish. You should never have to endure such hardships. I consoled him. It's all right, 738. We have managed to get through. 738 paused. You can share anything that troubles you with me. So, will you always be by my side? 738 chuckled softly. You have asked that 3 times now. I stubbornly pressed. Will you? Yes. In the stillness of the night, an unexpected knock at the door felt eerie. 738 gently reassured. Do not be afraid. I am here. I opened the door a crack. Shin Siyu handed me a bottle of milk, turning away awkwardly.
I am sorry.
I did not accept it. Shin Siyu shoved the milk into my arms and dashed away. She must have come secretly. I hesitated for a moment. You dropped your slipper. Shin Siyu froze. Lowering her head, she returned to retrieve her slipper and ran off resolutely. Mother Shin replaced the driver. Henceforth, Shin Siyu no longer insisted on the new driver speeding off, realizing that her little tantrums and whims had cost someone their job. At least there were no longer any overt conflicts between us. The 3 of us traveled together peacefully on the road to school. In middle school, Shin Siyu and I were placed in the same class. At Mother Shin's insistence, Shin Siyu reluctantly waited for me every evening after school. I comprehend the underlying implications of Mother Shin's surveillance. She perceives that my years of wandering outside, marked by the label of an orphanage, render me inherently susceptible to acquiring undesirable habits, as I was not nurtured by her own hands. I possess no such habits. I merely relish in conversing with 738 while organizing my belongings. Shin Siyu urged from outside. Are you dawdling? No need to respond. I nodded, tidying at my usual pace, walking beside Shin Siyu with my backpack slung over my shoulder. A young boy, fresh-faced and handsome, brushed past us and bestowed a small daisy upon Shin Siyu. Her cheeks flushed crimson. 738 and I silently observed the scene. Only after Shin Siyu finished receiving the flower did she remember my presence. She admonished, You must not tell Mom and Dad. I acquiesced, as indeed no one wished to meddle in her affairs. However, I added, if you desire, we could procure a bouquet for you every day. Shin Siyu was displeased. What do you mean? Do you look down on the flowers he gave me? That is not my intention. Then what does it mean? Regardless of Shin Siyu's uproar, I feigned ignorance. Subsequently, Shin Siyu received a daisy each day, while 738 accompanied me in my studies. I progressed slowly, and it remained patient, teaching me bit by bit. An aunt knocked at the door, delivering a small cake I had ordered in the morning. 738 cautioned, Your tooth ached a couple of days ago. Consume less sweets. I nodded in agreement, smiling at 738. Understood. Happy birthday, 738. For a fleeting moment, 738 faltered before speaking. Why is today my birthday? I am a system. I do not require a birthday. I responded earnestly. You appeared by my side on this day, when you turned 7. It marks the anniversary of your existence in this world, thus it is your birthday, and it deserves to be celebrated. 738 was rendered speechless. 3 candles adorned the cake, representing 738. In the past, I would secretly wish it a happy birthday in my heart. This year, I had prepared a cake with great anticipation, intending to celebrate it properly. I lit the candles, their faint glow illuminating my face as I closed my eyes. There was no reaction. I urged, come on, 738. 738 took control of the body and opened its eyes. It gazed at the cake on the table, recalling my instructions. Blow out the candles, make a wish, and eat the cake. It extinguished the candles. I opened my eyes once more, the lingering sweetness of the cake still on my tongue. Why did you only take 1 bite? I do not have a fondness for sweets. Such a pity, for I would have to consume the rest, although it was initially meant for me. Did you make a wish? Yes, I wish to remember to brush my teeth before sleeping. What was it? If I say it, it will not come true. This phrase was something I had taught it. I hummed. All right, 738. May your wishes be fulfilled. Shin Siyu, unflinchingly, embarked upon her first love. She collected 30 daisies. 30 daisies. I must brush past that boy 30 times. Adolescence is inextricably linked with hormones, often fostering curiosity towards the opposite sex, leading to mutual affection. Following this, 738 embarked upon a detailed exposition of the intricacies of puberty. I contemplated thoughtfully. Perhaps one day, you too will encounter a curious opposite sex. I replied firmly, I will not. 738 inquired, I retorted, when I say I will not, I mean it. 738 sighed. Understood. Children in their adolescent years often exhibit distinct personalities, becoming increasingly resistant to opinions they dislike. 738 believed I had reached this stage too, reflecting on how swiftly I had grown. Shen Xingyuan, being a grade above us and attending the same campus, swiftly discerned Shen Siyu's predicament. On one occasion, while Shen Siyu secretly met with the boy, she was caught red-handed by Shen Xingyuan, who reportedly returned home in a furious rage, threatening to dispose of Shen Siyu's daisies, which led her to weep and desperately reclaim them. The day of the monumental clash found me absent, as I was at a cat cafe with 738. 738 meticulously assessed each kitten. Cats pose no threat, they are safe to pet. You resemble a humanoid machine, 738. 738 replied indifferently. Humanoids do not narrate stories to you daily. I countered, that is not a story at all. Those are merely puns, 738. You cannot tell a proper story. 738. Will I tell stories in the future? I affectionately stroked a kitten's head, my eyes pleading, please do. Upon returning home that day, the atmosphere felt peculiar. Shen Siyu's eyes were swollen and red, suggesting she had cried multiple times. Shen Xingyuan frowned and glared at me. Where have you been? Ignoring calls? Are you unaware of the turmoil at home? My relationship with Shen Xingyuan had never been amicable. I found his presence repulsive, causing me to feel nauseated upon sight. I muttered, 738. 738 responded, close your eyes. I complied. Shen Xingyuan's expression darkened ominously. 738 met his gaze, exuding a subtle yet overpowering presence. Its pale irises radiating a chill. Despite Shen Xingyuan's haughty demeanor, he dared not provoke me further in this situation. He had noticed my frequent daydreaming and fluctuating temperament, even suspecting I might be suffering from split personality. A mentally ill person would not concern themselves with the titles others bestowed upon them. 738, though succinct, was resolute in its approach. I can sense a fear emanating from him. That feeling is accurate. It has persisted for quite some time. Shen Xingyuan, a person riddled with suspicion, would not cease his spiraling thoughts. He would ruminate on something beyond his comprehension, leading to further anxiety. That suited me just fine. To ensure Shen Siyu's safety, Shen Xingyuan mandated her to attend school with him, resulting in frequent arguments. Mother Shen would lament, Siyu, your brother is looking out for you. Do not always argue with him. In the presence of her adopted daughter and son, Mother Shen unconditionally supported her son. When it came to making decisions, the daughter would be unceremoniously cast aside. Shen Siyu sobbed. Shen Xingyuan pressed his lips together, still seething with anger. Was it merely because Shen Siyu was in love? I doubted it. My instincts told me something was amiss. As I passed them, my gaze lingered for a brief second before retreating to my room. 738. Do you think if Shen Siyu were their biological daughter, would they still so readily choose Shen Xingyuan? 738 did not respond quickly, but rather countered my question with another. I pursed my lips. They would still choose Shen Xingyuan. He was distinctly perturbed by my existence, often issuing veiled warnings. He made it clear that I should not attempt to approach him or Shen Siyu. 738 gently advised. There is no need to fear the threats posed by anyone or anything. I shook my head while munching on sunflower seeds. It's all right, 738. I am not afraid. I am merely curious as to why Shen Xingyuan always believes himself to be so sought after. I hesitated before voicing a thought that had lingered for some time. Why does he assume that everyone in the world wishes to be near him? To Shen father and mother, he may be the beloved one, while to me, he is nothing of the sort. 738 provided a reasonable answer. Arrogance. Or, to put it more simply, mediocrity. I suddenly comprehended. When the day of Shen Siyu's 16th birthday arrived, the Shen family hosted a grand banquet, and I was like a puppet forced into a little dress, with Shen father and mother seizing the opportunity to publicly introduce me to the guests. I engaged in a discourse with 738 regarding the motivations behind Shin Father and Shin Mother's decision to introduce me to the world on Shin Si's birthday. Ultimately, we concluded that it was purely a means of annoyance. The expressions of those present varied, yet each came forth to congratulate them on having found me. Could it be that Madame Shin gave birth to twins back in the day? Such a question was patently disingenuous. Shin Siyu and I bore no resemblance whatsoever. There was not a hint of similarity between our visages. Those gathered were astute enough to surmise the underlying issues at play, especially given the overt symbolism of the names chosen. Unfazed by the skepticism, Shin Mother maintained her stance. Siyu and Shingi are both my biological daughters. The circumstances surrounding my adoption were handled with meticulous secrecy, with few privy to the details. It was common knowledge that their daughter had vanished many years prior, leading many to believe that Shin Siyu was the one who had been reclaimed. In truth, Shin Father and Shin Mother were shrewd individuals, harboring their own ulterior motives. As merchants, their focus lay on profit. The time and effort expended on me were far less than what they invested in Shin Shingi and Shin Siyu. Shin Shingi was poised to inherit the family business, while Shin Siyu also held her own value. I, however, had been categorized as difficult to educate, and the 12 years that had been stripped from me created an insurmountable gulf between us. 738, seldom one for silence, chose a moment to reveal the truth to me. I was supposed to have been brought back at the age of 20, and it was through 738's indirect channels that my whereabouts were communicated to Shin Father and Shin Mother, thereby expediting my return. I was taken aback for an extended period, so much so that 738 felt compelled to apologize. This was my unilateral decision. It did not wish to witness me, in my tender years, subjected to the vicissitudes of life. It sought to prevent a scenario where, at 20, I would be utterly unprepared for the sudden family reunion and, upon being reclaimed, would be confronted with their evident affection for Shin Siyu, while I was relegated to the role of a pawn in a strategic alliance. All potential complications could be nipped in the bud, which is why it facilitated my premature return. I exhaled in relief. It was not that they deemed me uneducable. Rather, they feared I would be difficult to manage. In stark contrast, Shin Siyu was evidently more malleable. No, thank you, 738. A brief silence ensued. Even so, I did not anticipate that it would take 4 more years for these parents to publicly acknowledge you as their biological daughter. Even one as astute and powerful as 738 struggled to comprehend Shin Father and Shin Mother's actions. All it could do was spare no effort in safeguarding me, thus enabling the liberation of my agency. I smiled faintly. I am indifferent to such matters. This was indeed preferable, as it relieved me from harboring any unrealistic hopes for parental connection. In the absence of news about me, they would continue to lead a blissful life with Shin Siyu and Shin Shingi, devoid of the hollow phrase "we searched for you" for 9 years. The sooner I grasped this, the quicker I could desensitize myself, thus allowing me ample time and opportunity to confront the impending challenges. 738. Thank you. Resting my chin in my hand, a sudden thought struck me. However, there is one more thing I wish to inquire about. 738. What is it? Since we can exchange control of our bodies, could you take my place at school tomorrow? 738. No. Behave and focus on your studies. The adult demeanor of 738 was far from endearing, and without question, my request was declined. Yet, I remained secretly elated. Only I could converse with 738, and it was mine alone. The relationship between Shin Shingi and Shin Siyu maintained an oddly precarious equilibrium. While Shin Shingi exercised control over Shin Siyu, he still found time amidst his busy schedule to deal with me. He orchestrated isolation and orchestrated bullying, manipulating the small school to his advantage. Unfortunately for him, he was unaware that I had 738, who was always ready to spring into action. Each day, I returned home unscathed, leaving Shin Shingi bewildered. You and Shin Siyu are different. You did not grow up under his control, nor are you bound by his order. You possess the rights to the Shin family inheritance. I understood the source of Shin Shingi's fears. Should I ever wish to claim my share, I would be more than capable of fighting for it. Shin Shingi, selfish and hypocritical, would never permit a single jot of the Shin family's wealth to slip through my fingers. This dynamic persisted until Shin Siyu and I embarked on our university education. Disagreements arose between Shin Xingyi and Shin Father. Shin Xingyi insisted that Shin Siyu remain in the country, while Shin Father firmly stated, Siyu is studying the arts. Going abroad for further education will serve her better. Shin Xingyi vehemently opposed this. The atmosphere between father and son grew tense. As Shin Xingyi had already begun to navigate the inner workings of the Shin family under his father's guidance and had gained some degree of influence, Shin Siyu's complexion paled, teetering on the brink of despair. Shin Mother chimed in. Indeed, was it not once the plan to send Siyu abroad? Xiao Yuan let her go. In a fit of tears, Shin Siyu suddenly pointed at me, who was merely passing by, and exclaimed, Why is it that you want to keep Shin Xingyi here, while I must stay? What gives you the right? Shin Siyu fixated on the notion that studying abroad is a good thing, clinging stubbornly to the belief that Shin Xingyi wished to see her fail. Little did she realize that the Shin family required a prominent figurehead, a decorative vase. After years of learning etiquette, if she garnered a claim abroad, it could yield substantial benefits for the family through advantageous unions. I want to study abroad, Shin Siyu declared vehemently, locking her gaze onto me. Shin Xingyi must go too. My hand, which was poised to grasp the stair railing, faltered momentarily. Shin Xingyi found himself unable to prevent Shin Siyu's departure abroad. Thus, both Shin Siyu and I traveled overseas. I gazed out the window, where clouds swirled, and the shadows on the ground grew ever fainter. Shin Siyu sat beside me, weeping uncontrollably. She could not tolerate my calm demeanor, accusing me of lacking love for our parents and brother. It seems going abroad is what you desire, yet you refuse to let me stay here with Shin Xingyi. I regarded her quietly. One cannot have it both ways, Shin Siyu. She wished to escape Shin Xingyi's grasp, yet did not want me to be alone with him, fearing that it would draw me closer to him. Such concerns were unfounded. The mere sight of Shin Xingyi made me feel nauseous. Shin Siyu continued to glare at me. Why is it that you can pursue your own interests, while I am confined to studying the arts? Perhaps a flicker of insight had dawned upon her. I felt a glimmer of anticipation. However, any hope was swiftly extinguished as she attempted to enumerate the reasons why our parents and Shin Xingyi favored me over her. Her imagined adversaries were far too exaggerated. I did not believe it solely to be her fault. The overwhelming majority of the issue stemmed from Shin Siyu's prolonged exposure to Shin Xingyi's manipulative tactics, leading her to believe that my very existence was the root of her struggles. I had anticipated too much, hoping she would generate some unique perspective. I pondered for a moment and then tapped her forehead. Perhaps it is because of the similarities between you and Shin Xingyi. Her small face turned ashen, and she bit her lip. You clearly do not regard me as your sister. I was curious. Did you truly believe I considered you as one? Shin Siyu fell silent. I gently patted her shoulder in a gesture of comfort. There was more to it than just that. Blood ties also played a significant role. No matter how fond Shin Father and Shin Mother might be of Shin Siyu, they could never overlook the fact that her bloodline did not originate from the Shin family. They needed her to serve as an alluring facade for advantageous unions, which was rather unethical. Shin Siyu and I were worlds apart. Over the course of 3 years, she returned home almost monthly to reunite with family, sometimes being summoned by Shin Xingyi to return twice in a single month, leaving her no choice but to comply, lest she face the withdrawal of financial support or confinement. Shin Siyu believed they were merely being overly strict, unaware that, in the eyes of her family, she was a highly valuable asset. I reclined on the beach, basking in the sun. 7:38. Shall we return? It's up to you. What if I choose not to go back? You would still fare well, accompanying me on my journey around the globe. I have not conformed to the expectations of Shin Father and Shin Mother, becoming the face they desired. Despite their countless threats to cut off my financial support and compel my return, their efforts have proven futile. 738 is no pushover. They are utterly powerless against me. At times, I find myself pondering the origins of 738. Resting my chin on my hand, I muse in novels. Systems typically assign tasks that must be completed to obtain rewards. Yet, 738, why have you never given me any tasks? 738 responds with an air of resignation. You should be more concerned about why I can exchange bodily autonomy with you. If I were to become more malevolent, might you never awaken again? My eyes gleam with intrigue. That's quite all right. If you wish to experience this world, I can relinquish control to you at any moment. 738. Let's out a sigh. Very well, I shall issue a task now. Your mission is to live safely, healthily, and joyfully until the end of your days. I pause, then propose. Let us add another condition.
What?
Include yourself in that. 738. I want you to accompany me until the end of life. Do you think systems can develop affection for humans?
No. Then. No.
I feel a pang of disappointment. I hadn't even finished speaking. 738 clears its throat softly. I enjoy my freedom outside when Shin Siyu calls me, her voice thick with tears. Shin Shingi, why wouldn't you come back? I am taken aback. What purpose would that serve? Her voice is hoarse as she cries. Did you know all along that our parents were arranging a marriage for me? They wouldn't let me go. I'm to be wed. I smile faintly. This is their love for you, Shin Siyu. Have you forgotten how you accused me on the plane? You said I was selfish and cold-hearted, hypocritical and unfeeling.
You see?
You yourself admitted that my relationship with you all is far from good. How could I possibly have known? Shin Siyu's voice falters. I refuse to go through with the marriage. My brother has said he doesn't want me to. They intend to marry her off to a partner whose wife has passed, in exchange for advantages in their business dealings. This partner is in his 30s. Should he and Shin Siyu have children, the Shin family's business would sail smoothly. Then you must devise your own plan. Why are you calling me? Do you expect me to take your place in this marriage? Shin Siyu, have you forgotten that I was only found at 12 and publicly acknowledged at 16? In terms of marriage value, I pale in comparison to you. Didn't you say I don't love them enough? Since you love them so dearly, continue to do so with your eyes closed. I pause, then add, by the way, speaking of Shin Xingyuan, I must interject. Have you visited his house? If you find yourself with some free time, you might want to make a couple of trips. Shin Siyu looks momentarily bewildered. What do you mean? Nothing much. Days later, while gazing at the northern lights in Iceland, 738 suddenly remarks, Shin Siyu has heeded your words. My spirits lift. The Shun family must be in turmoil. I purchase a ticket and fly back at once, ready to take decisive action. Knowing Shun Siyu's character, I anticipated that a mere mention would compel her to act without further encouragement. The Shun household is in complete disarray. Shin Xingyuan's unspoken affections for Shin Siyu have been exposed. Shin mother, weeping and scolding, points at Shin Siyu, exclaiming, I knew raising you would bring nothing but trouble. He is your brother. Shin father wears a dark expression, believing this to be a family scandal. The two of them unceremoniously blame Shin Siyu for the situation. Shin Siyu stares in disbelief at her parents, who had always shown her warmth and affection, now tearing off their masks as if transformed overnight. Prior to the incident, during my phone call with her, Shin Siyu had been preoccupied with her thoughts. She found an excuse to obtain a key and ventured to Shin Xingyuan's villa. Sneaking into the basement. Upon switching on the light, her pupils constricted. The basement was filled with photographs of her, candid shots taken from middle school to high school and during her return to the country. Shin Siyu began to tremble uncontrollably. As she examined the photos, her stomach churned. Shin Xingyuan had been spying on her? In a state of panic, she understood that such matters must never reach Shin father and Shin mother. Yet, Shin Siyu's impatience got the better of her. She waited in the villa until Shin Xingyuan returned to confront him. She yearned to uncover how she had lived without privacy for the past 20 years. However, her parents arrived just in time to catch her. When I returned to the Shun household, chaos erupted. Items lay shattered across the floor. Shin Siyu had a bleeding forehead, struck by an ashtray hurled by Shin father. She sat on the ground, her gaze meeting mine. You knew all along, she mouthed, tears streaming down her cheeks. Fear evident in her eyes. Shin Xingyuan, dressed impeccably, seethed with anger, his hostility palpable as he faced off with Shin father and Shin mother. Shin Xingyuan's voice was grim. Now that Shin Xingyi has returned, there's no need for Siyu to marry. It's time for a change. Shin mother retorted, what nonsense are you spouting? You still want to keep Shin Siyu around? Have you lost your mind? Shin father, looking down upon Shin Xingyuan, dismissed his words with an air of superiority. If that's your stance, then she cannot remain. An astonishing declaration ensued. Shin Xingyuan's audacity reached a level that left one wondering what kind of being he truly was. 738 interjected calmly, Xingyi. Do you need me to step in? I didn't hesitate to respond. What a coincidence. I've been thinking the same. Come on, 738. Strike as you wish. Under the gaze of everyone present, 738 opened its eyes, shook its arms, and delivered a right hook, abruptly ending the farce amid Shin Xingyuan's cries. Shin Siyu was confined alone in a room, hugging her legs. Under 738's guidance, I skillfully pried open the door.
What do you want now?
Shin Siyu's expression was blank. In the midst of the revelations, she had likely spiraled into despair. Her parents were not her true kin. They had raised her solely for the purpose of a marriage alliance. This realization struck her like a heavy blow. Witnessing her usually gentle mother's grotesque visage and her father's indifferent stare, leaving her questioning her very existence. Why should she continue to live, and for what purpose? Moreover, her brother's sordid intentions had burdened her throughout her entire educational journey. She began to lose sight of her role within this family. Was she merely a tool, a pet, or something else entirely? I knelt down, brushing aside the hair from Shin Siu's face, placing a dried bouquet of daisies into her arms. Her eyes widened slowly.
You?
How did this end up here? I found it in a dumpster outside. It was discarded by Shin Xingyuan. Shin Siu's situation was dire. Shin father and Shin mother had thrown out all her belongings, and Shin Xingyuan had supported this action, handling her personal items, including this bouquet of dried flowers. I gently touched her beautiful, pale face. I know you've maintained contact with him all along. Haven to you? Shin Siyu had been keeping in touch with her first love, despite the opposition from Shin Xingyuan, Shin father, and Shin mother. She hastily wiped away her tears, stubbornly turning her face away to avoid my gaze. Or do you prefer the likes of Shin Xingyuan? A shudder ran through her, and she instinctively shook her head. She understood better than anyone the extent of Shin Xingyuan's desire for control over the Shin group. The mere act of clandestinely photographing, voyeurism, and manipulation had already driven her to the brink of despair. She could scarcely fathom a future where she would never again step outside the confines of Shin Xingyuan's villa. She harbored doubts about Shin Xingyuan's capacity to execute such an extreme measure. I cast my gaze downward, observing Shin Siyu. Are you frightened? I inquired. Shin Siyu, seemingly drained of strength, wiped her tears and coldly replied, You are not a good person either. I smiled gently, wrapping my arms around her and resting my chin in the crook of her neck. In that moment, I sensed her entire being stiffen. Do you wish to pursue freedom and happiness with him? Shin Siyu trembled even more violently. Siyu, I spoke softly. I can assist you. On the way back to the hotel, 738 suddenly remarked, Next time, do not get too close to people. It is perilous. That won't happen. She is Shin Siyu. It will. We cannot accurately predict when danger will strike. I responded, All right, are you concerned about me? Yes, merely concerned for your safety. Shin Siyu unexpectedly agreed to the arranged marriage, displaying an obedience far greater than usual, becoming docile and quiet. The Shin family has done me a favor. I will heed your words. Shin's mother, having raised her for many years, immediately changed her demeanor. Siyu, I know you are the most sensible and considerate child. What I am doing is for your own good, and it is best that you understand this. The depths of Shin Xingyuan's eyes were inscrutable. Shin Siyu clutched her skirt, biting her lip gently. As I passed through the living room, I was met with a scathing reprimand from Shin's mother. I exchanged a glance with Shin Siyu. She received the unspoken message, quickly averted her gaze, her eyes instantly reddening as she cast a fleeting glance at Shin Xingyuan. He frowned and looked at me. I raised my middle finger in response. Suddenly, 738 interjected, Shin Siyu. The tone was somewhat heavy. I returned to the hotel to await developments. 738. Are you angry? There was a slight pause from 738. It is too dangerous. I do not wish for you to take risks. It is all right. I murmured softly while gazing at the ceiling. Just this once, 738. It will succeed. I have thoroughly instructed Shin Siyu on what to do. 738 remained silent. I beg you. This will be the last time. When I awoke, I found my body utterly immobilized. 738. 738? No response came. I witnessed my body rise and walk towards the door. Outside, Shin Xingyuan's men immediately covered my face, causing me to lose consciousness. 738 was controlling my body, disregarding my pleas. I watched as it was bound and thrown into a car, discarded in an abandoned warehouse. Naturally, 738 would not faint. It opened its eyes. Their hue dim. I told you I would always protect you. There is no need to call for me to return. This time, I will not relinquish control of your body. To ensure my safety, it forcibly took control, vowing to maintain this until the matter concluded. I gradually quieted. Yet I discovered a fascinating revelation. So you truly can control the body directly. 738 paused, suddenly feeling somewhat guilty. You have never proactively controlled me. And you told me to close my eyes to switch. Each time, the control did not exceed 5 minutes. Why, 738? For the first time, this system experienced human-like emotions, a sensation that left it feeling oddly uneasy. Does the system really not fall in love with humans? 738's breathing grew heavier, feigning ignorance of my words. Xin Yuan had kidnapped me. This location was part of his shadowy enterprises, making it difficult to locate. It posed no significant issue, as I had previously implanted a tracker within myself. Tracing the Xin family back 3 generations, the gray industrial chain operated in the shadows. By the time it reached Xin Yuan's generation, it had doubled in magnitude. This was a gamble, a wager that Xin Xiyu would not waver, that she would follow my every instruction and cleverly access Xin Yuan's computer. Xin Yuan approached me, slapping my face. I never expected you would dare return. He sought revenge for a previous blow. 738 smiled, its pupils reflecting the eerie blue glow of its own eyes. You. Xin Yuan's expression turned uncertain. Your eyes? We have crossed paths many times. 738's vocal cords vibrated with a dual tone, skillfully freeing itself from its restraints, grasping his wrist with its left hand before executing a powerful throw over its shoulder.
Bang!
The sound of police sirens grew nearer. A large contingent of armed officers sealed off the scene. Do not move. Xin Xiyu, disheveled and frantic, leaped from a police car, her hair unkempt, sweat beading upon her forehead. The contents copied from Xin Yuan's computer were all contained within a USB drive she clutched in trembling hands. Stained with blood from incapacitating the bodyguard at the study door, she hurled the USB drive towards me.
Catch!
I extended my hand and caught it. Xin Xiyu wiped her tears and shouted, You owe me compensation for emotional distress. To incite Xin Yuan into abducting me, she had endured considerable discomfort, feigning vulnerability. Confident and proud for much of her life, Xin Xiyu was now compelled to think critically. She had to navigate the treacherous waters of her parents while ensuring success in one attempt. Xin Yuan was not easily deceived, yet amidst Xin Xiyu's tears and frantic pleas, he lost his composure. He genuinely believed she despised me. After all, he had grown up alongside her. Twisted love and blind confidence can cloud one's judgment. What could a seemingly insignificant woman accomplish? He pondered that perhaps trading me would be advantageous. Xin Yuan completely unraveled as Xin Xiyu's final plea, Brother, I beg you. I will only listen to you from now on, shattered the last threads of his reason. He confined Xin Xiyu to his villa and began orchestrating my abduction, planning to forcibly exchange me for her. After all, she was young, beautiful, and a daughter of the Xin family, which connection would not be advantageous. The police arrested Xin Yuan for kidnapping. He remained calm, fully aware that Xin's parents would bail him out, until I arrived with the USB drive. Do you think acquiring these secrets will allow you to take over the Xin family? The handcuffs on his wrists glinted coldly under the harsh lights of the interrogation room, igniting 2 orbs of ghostly fire in his eyes. I felt utterly perplexed. Why would I want to take over the Xin family? Xin Yuan looked at me, bewildered.
What?
The true objective was to confine him. Who said I sought to take over? The grimy, shadowy industries thrived. Whoever took over would find themselves cursed. With the torrent of black transactions spanning 2 decades from the Xin group, the family was thoroughly destroyed under Xin Yuan's stewardship. Xin's father fell ill from distress, while Xin's mother cursed me venomously over the phone. I patiently endured her accusations before hanging up. Xin Yuan appeared haggard, asking me 3 final words before being taken away.
Why?
I glanced around, my expression peculiar, and pointed at myself. Are you asking me why? He had forgotten his own tarnished history spanning over 2 decades. It is fine if you have a poor memory. Hard work will redeem you. My body still housed 738. Following its forcible control, 738 had briefly entered a state of dormancy for 2 days. Upon awakening, it heard me murmuring, 738738738738738. Stop repeating it, just stay alive. I was elated. This is wonderful. It is 738. We are saved. 738 chuckled at my exuberance. Where did you learn that? I did not elaborate on trivial matters. Rather, I quietly mused. I wonder what 738 is so intent on protecting me for. 738 responded. Is it true that systems can never develop affection for humans? Or perhaps, some systems are capable of love, yet struggle to articulate it. Much time later, a gentle hum lingered in the air. I smiled faintly. That sufficed. 21. My relationship with Shun Siu has mellowed. She invited me to dinner with her first love, her demeanor considerably subdued. Adopting a more low-key existence as she settled into a stable job, enjoying the ordinary happiness of a typical couple. In any case, thank you, she said, pressing her lips together. In the past, I had many shortcomings and flaws. I do not hope for your forgiveness. I merely wish for you to be willing to meet me. At this point, Shinsiu smiled softly, her expression revealing a sense of fulfillment. The days of incessantly negating herself had finally come to an end. The grim dwelling was now behind her. I hope, Shinsiu bit her lip, that you too find happiness, whether alone or with someone. She remained, at heart, a somewhat awkward and tangled girl. I pondered for a moment. It's both being alone and not being alone. Shinsiu appeared momentarily bewildered. Huh? I rose and waved at her.
Goodbye.
Donning my coat, for it was chilly outside, I fastened the buttons before stepping out. I complied swiftly, making a sudden halt to dress appropriately. It was time for the next chapter of my story with 738 to embark on a journey towards a future filled with promise. In 738's voice lay an unspoken tenderness. The highest form of companionship is to vanquish the world's malevolence on my behalf and subsequently teach me to shine splendidly on my own. The narrative concludes here. Thank you for listening. Until we meet again in the next tale.